Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. May I ask your name?
Oh, my name is Hiroshi.
Hiroshi.
Yeah, I'm calling from Japan.
Where in Japan?
Yeah, there's a southern part of Japan called Kumamoto.
Kumamoto. I've
Yeah.
heard of it. Yes. Unfortunately, I've never been to Japan, but
Oh,
I've had many Japanese students.
oh, really?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
good.
My name is Andy.
Andy,
I'm
okay.
I'm so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Um, I'm originally from the United Kingdom, but I've been living here in Asia since 2007. I live in the Philippines.
Oh, Philippines. So you are now speaking from Philippines now.
Yes.
Oh, really? So
Yes.
how do you like the Philippines?
Oh, I've been here 14 years, so I love it.
Oh, 14 years already.
Yes, yes,
So long. So
yes,
you must like the Philippines very much.
yes, you're right. I do. Yes.
Actually, I also visited the Philippines a couple of times.
All right.
Uh, the last time I went there was about just before the coronavirus occurred. Uh,
Yes.
2 years ago, I went to Baguio. Do you know
All right.
Baguio?
Yes, I know of Baguio. Yes.
Yeah, Philippines, and
Mm,
it is a very cool place because it's a mountainous
yes.
place.
Yes.
I escaped from the heat of Japan in August, so I
Yes.
went there in August, and I also attended the English school there, and
All right. There's English academies there as well, is there?
yeah.
Right. I wasn't sure because I'm familiar. I've never been to Baguio, but my sister-in-law went there a couple of years ago and brought me some sour strawberries.
Oh,
They were not the nicest strawberries in the world, but you don't really get many strawberries in the Philippines, so I was grateful for them.
oh,
But yes, I live in Angeles, which
I,
is I don't know if you've heard of Clark, a former
oh, yeah, yeah,
American
I know.
base.
That's the American, the
Yeah, you
American, yeah,
yes.
place, I
So
think.
I worked in English academies here. 'Cause
Oh,
the one you went to in Baguio, the English school you went to in Baguio, did it have Western native English speakers, or was it
oh,
just
the
Filipino teachers?
yeah, they are Filipinos.
Just Filipinos,
Yeah.
yeah. The
Oh,
same in
yeah, there
Cebu.
was one. Yeah, there was one native English
Ah,
teacher
yeah.
from Australia.
Australia, yeah.
There was
Okay.
one. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
same in Cebu, they have English schools, but again, they don't. There's only occasional native English speakers. But here in Angeles,
Mm.
all the schools have because obviously this is a popular area for expats. You know, Australians, British,
Oh,
Americans, and Canadian. The school I worked in had all four nationalities
mm.
working at them. And also, we had a couple of female native English speakers as well.
Oh, that's good.
Mm.
And what's the main nationalities of the students at that school?
Um, I worked in three different academies. Two were Korean
Oh,
owned, one was Japanese owned.
oh,
So the Korean owned was quite a mix, but mostly Korean, of course.
yeah.
Korean, Japanese,
Mm.
Taiwanese,
Oh, Taiwanese.
in that order, probably that amount. Difficult to say Taiwanese and Japanese. Lots and lots of Taiwanese, you know, coming here. I was shocked. More Taiwanese than Chinese,
Oh,
surprisingly. But
mm.
yeah, mainly. But then the Japanese academy I worked in was exclusively for Japanese students.
Oh, yeah. Mm. The English school I attended in Baguio, it was run by Korean,
Yeah,
so there are many
Koreans.
Korean students.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I enjoyed the studying with them because they are very kind to me.
Yes.
I think the reason why I'm old, so that's why they kind to me. So actually, I enjoyed very much over
Well,
there.
you know, my school here, the last school I worked in, because I've been on Cambly now for 2.5 years, and
Mm,
I don't work in schools anymore. I just
mm.
work on Cambly. But yes, I had an elderly Japanese gentleman who was a regular visitor to the Philippines, and
Oh, really?
yes, to our school.
Mm.
I think he was 68.
Oh, 68?
66 or 68, yes.
Oh,
And he would come every 3 or 4 months, he would come.
oh, really? So
Yes, yes,
old.
regular. He'd come 3 or 4 times a year. But,
Oh,
but there was an interesting story. His wife refused to retire. He was retired.
oh, yeah.
He worked in the motor industry. I forget, Honda,
Mhm.
Toyota.
Oh,
I forget
okay.
who he worked for now.
Mhm,
But he'd retired.
mhm,
And he said his wife refused to retire from her work because she enjoyed her work. And
mhm.
he kept saying to her, look, we're old. Who knows what might happen to us? He said, we should enjoy this time of our life
Yeah.
together. And she said, no, 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 I want to work. I love working.
Mhm.
So he started coming to the Philippines.
Oh, I
And
see.
he said his wife was very angry that he was doing this.
Oh, really?
She didn't like it. So he said to her,
Yeah.
if you retire, I'll
Mhm.
stop going to the Philippines. But
Yeah.
she refused. She refused. She said, "You won't blackmail me," she said. So they carried on. She carries on working. He keeps coming to the Philippines to
Yeah,
improve his
I think
English.
that's yeah, good.
Yeah,
We want to do what we want to do. So
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. You've got to do what you've got to do, haven't you?
yeah,
So
mm, that's true.
but
Yeah.
he said he used to get a little bit bored, in Japan because he was a horticulturalist. He liked growing vegetables.
Oh,
He had a vegetable plot.
oh,
I think he lived in an apartment, but he rented
oh,
a plot of land where he
yeah.
could grow his own
Oh,
vegetables and stuff.
mhm.
Organically grown
Oh,
vegetables. So he's
yeah.
very interested in that sort of thing. If I could find exercises about organic vegetables and stuff. He was very keen on English classes on
Oh,
organically grown.
yeah, that's good.
Very interesting man though.
Mhm,
So very interesting.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, I know that many seniors like gardening.
Yes.
Yeah, grow vegetables and organic vegetables.
Mm.
So, but unfortunately, I have a back pain, so
Ah,
I couldn't, uh,
yes.
yeah, work in the garden. So,
Yes.
mhm.
You need to try bonsai.
Well,
You know the Japanese
well,
art, so
I,
you can have the
um,
tree high up, so you don't have to bend down.
I don't like bonsai so
Oh,
much.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Nowadays, bonsai is not so popular. I don't
Ah.
see so many. A couple of decades ago, it was very
Mm.
popular,
Mm.
and not only Japanese but
Mm.
foreigners too. But nowadays, I don't think it's so popular.
Quite
Mm,
popular here in the Philippines.
really?
Yes, but
Yeah.
they don't like growing the very, very small ones. They sort
Yeah.
of grow the medium size, the quite big, what's
Yeah.
quite big for a bonsai. They
Mm.
like to grow the bigger ones because I think there's more money involved in
Oh.
in the slightly bigger ones. But yeah, it's quite popular. I used to when I was driving home because my school used to be a 45-minute commute from my home. It was painful,
Oh.
an annoying commute. But I passed a couple of properties where they had bonsai trees outside.
Mm.
But I'm not much of a horticulturalist
Mm.
myself. So I would have
Mm.
liked, but I would have probably killed the bonsai tree if I'd have had it,
Mm.
you know.
Mm. Oh.
So how about you? What are your interests? What,
Oh,
what?
well, when I was young, I traveled quite a lot in the
Uh,
world. Of course, as I told you, I visited the Philippines a couple
mm,
of times already,
yes.
and also, of course, South Korea
Yeah.
and China and Taiwan and Philippines and Singapore and Thailand, yeah, and Australia and to the UK
I was
and
going to say, did you come to you or go to Europe? I should say. Where,
yeah,
where
and
did you visit in? Where did you visit in the UK? London.
UK. Traveled around the old UK.
When
I
was that? What?
Well, about 10 years ago. Actually, I visited the UK twice,
Yeah.
and yeah, first time it was 10 years ago, and
Mm.
the second one was about 8 years ago. Was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, traveled all the UK and from London to Oxford and Scotland, and
Yes.
yeah, and also I went to Ireland too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and the second time I joined the university organized a tour with young students,
Yeah.
and yeah, I homestayed in the UK.
All
I
right.
stayed at the Bath. Have you
Bath.
ever?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I'm familiar
yeah,
with Bath. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, I homestayed there, and I yeah, enjoyed living with the British family.
Family. Yeah.
Yeah, so
What? So a family, husband and wife, children.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, husband, yeah, deceased, yeah, a couple of years ago, and
Oh, so it
yeah,
was just the wife.
yeah, wife and children.
Ah,
Mm,
right.
mm,
Okay. How
mm.
old were the kids? How old were the children?
Well, about 10 years or so, I think. Yeah,
Right. So they
mhm.
kept you on your toes then.
Yeah. hmm So, have you been to the UK?
Not for 7 years. I haven't been back
No.
for 7 years. I had to. My father died 7 years ago, so I had to
Oh, sorry,
return.
I missed that. You told me that you are from the UK.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're confused. You thought I was
Oh,
Australian.
sorry.
Maybe you
So,
thought. Maybe you thought I was Filipino.
no,
I
no.
do. I do look a bit Filipino. I have to say, it's my nose.
So where in the
Well,
UK?
I grew up in Wales, North Wales,
Yes, yeah.
but
Oh,
for the last 15 years before I came to the Philippines, I lived in a place called Blackpool. It's
okay.
it's about 60 miles north of Liverpool and Manchester
Oh,
in the northwest of England.
mhm.
But I've lived all over the UK. I've lived in the East Midlands, Nottingham. So I've lived, at various different places at different times. But I am originally, and my mother still lives in North Wales.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah, I remember visiting the Liverpool.
yeah,
Yeah, Liverpool is uh, the place where the Beatles, John Lennon,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Beatles, I think.
And the international airport is now named after him, the John Lennon International Airport.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I yeah also visited the museum of the Beatles.
All right, Beatles
Yeah,
Museum in
yeah, yeah.
Liverpool.
Mhm.
Right.
They played the Imagine, the music Imagine. I
Yes.
like Imagine very much.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
he has Japanese contacts as well, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
His wife, and he has a son, doesn't he? Sean, with Yoko Ono, who
Oh,
was
yeah. Yeah.
always blamed for splitting up the Beatles. Huh?
Yeah.
Do you think she was responsible for splitting up the Beatles?
Oh no,
No.
I've never thought about that. Oh,
No.
really?
Yes, she's often being accused by, I think, people who don't really know too much about what happened. Yes, Yoko Ono was always accused of splitting up
Really?
the Beatles, but
Oh, this was the
don't think
first
so.
time I heard about it.
Mm.
But personally, I don't like her very much.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Why? I don't really know much about her,
actually,
but
I don't know, but her way of saying or doing, I'm not so.
right. I honestly don't know much about her, but I do feel she was persecuted. I do feel she was unfairly criticised. I don't think she had anything to do with the splitting of the Beatles. As a person, I don't know her. I feel she's probably, if she's been rude or the way she is, perhaps this is as a result of negative press and people always asking her, were you responsible? So, but as in terms of a person, I don't know. I've always felt a little bit sorry for her in terms of being accused of that, splitting up the
Mm,
Beatles. But I think the Beatles were ready to split up,
oh.
no matter whether Yoko Ono had come onto the scene or not. So
Yeah, yeah, there are many things I don't know about.
there's many things we both don't know, aren't there, about these sort of things. So, but you like John Lennon's music?
Yeah, I usually like the oldies.
Yes, me
Yeah,
too.
other singers such as Elvis Presley or
Yes, the King, of
Carpenter.
course. How could you not like the King? Bob Dylan. I like Bob Dylan. You should perhaps try. Have you ever heard of Van Morrison?
Oh,